Welcome once again to the Into the Cypher podcast. It is none other than I. Yes, thank you, little people. It is none other than I. He is him, he is he is myself, Cypher Da MC, the Muhammad Ali of MCs, back again with you once again by God's grace to be before you on another week. We've made it through another week, people. Another week is approaching us. There goes my background music. There it goes. All right. But yes, we've made it. And I am so privileged to be before you today. I just want to say thank you to each and every one of you that have downloaded the podcast, referred the podcast. So I applaud you. Producer, can we give them a round of applause? It's well deserved. I'm not multinational or anything such as that, so I'm not going to, ever forget my beginnings, no matter how humble they are. So, but, before we get into today's topic, we have to definitely get by our disclaimers. We got to get by disclaimers. For those that are new to the channel, new to the podcast rather, this is something that we always do here. We always make sure that we get these disclaimers out. I am not a doctor of any kind. I am not a psychiatrist or psychologist. I'm not a family therapist. I'm not a relationship expert. I don't have a master's degree or a doctorate from Harvard. I am just a regular Joe Schmo, just a regular guy that just wants to embrace the Cypher Nation, and as we work towards being the best version of ourselves, no matter what that entails, whether it's doing something within ourselves, self-love, self-empowerment, or our relationships with those around us, we definitely want to make sure that we are doing everything possible so that way we are fulfilled internally before we do anything externally towards our purpose. So with that being said, before we get into the topic, I definitely want to make sure that anyone that is new or anything such as that you understand what this podcast is about, what it's for. It's not to point fingers at anyone. If anyone points fingers, I point fingers at myself first. I always use myself as an example, just based off of my own personal experiences, my own thoughts, perspectives. I like to give those just as a tool of reference, so that way it's understood. I'm not speaking from a place of, unknowing. I like to do my research when it comes to topics that I'm not fully aware of, because I want to do my due diligence in that regard. But I also want to make sure that I'm not speaking from a soapbox or pointing fingers, because I want this to be a place of trust, a place of where we can actually communicate. So wanted to get that out the way there. In today's topic, you may was just curious and just tapped on it. It's okay to be selfish for you. I'll say that again for those in the back that may have been playing around, playing the little paper football game or the pencil war where you try to break the pencils, which I never really understood. Well, if you broke the pencil, you won, but now I'm out of a pencil. Do you have an extra one for me to borrow? Anyway, it is okay for you to be selfish for you. It's okay. Now, you may wonder, well, what do you mean by that? What do you mean by that? Or you may just be one of those individuals. I'm not used to being selfish. I'm used to being a giver. I'm used to being open and giving to people, and I use phrases like sharing is caring. And I think we really just use that phrase simply because it rhymes. I think humans like things that rhyme. It takes no time. It really isn't a crime. Oh, how sublime. You see how easy that was? That's why I'm the MC. Anywho, but no, it's okay to be selfish for you. And here's what I mean. Let me just break this down. I won't be before you long. I promise you that. It's okay to be selfish for you, especially when it means that for those that may depend on you, or for those around you who may be looking up to you, they will see, even though you may not disclose every single step that you're doing, every single turn and twist and obstacle that you're facing, you may not disclose all of that information. They will actually see and benefit. They will see and benefit that you took the time for yourself. For example, for those of you that have decided to go back to school, or have recently completed a class or a course of some kind, you may have said to a family member, whether it's your significant other, husband, wife, or your parents, or your best friends, hey, I'm thinking about doing XYZ. I'm thinking about going back to school. Now, of course, you're going to have your naysayers and your detractors. Really? In this economy? Are you sure? Like, what, jobs could you possibly get with a degree now? It's all about who you know. And I understand most of these people that say these things, they mean well. They mean well. They don't really mean, hopefully, to rain on your parade, so to speak. I don't think it's intentionally done. I really feel that most individuals, though, when they say things like this, they're looking at it from their own perspective and just kind of, projecting it on you, because they're likely may have thought about this, doing the same thing themselves. And these are the same questions that they ask themselves. Well, in this economy, oh my gosh, it's up, it's down. We're in a recession. School is so expensive. What am I going to do with a new degree? Oh my gosh, how long will it take? But I have kids. And they give themselves all of these reasons, which are really excuses. And I don't mean to offend anyone. And of course, we can agree to disagree on this. But I look at it like this. If I myself, I'll use myself as an example. About 4 years ago, I believe 4 years ago, when we were 2022, actually, really 5 years ago now. Was it 5? Yes, 5 years ago. I started a course. I'm not going to name the institution, but it was for, getting my paralegal certificate. I really felt that, hey, if I went with my background being primarily in real estate and learning both sides of real estate and things of that nature, I'm like, if I work for a law firm, doing titles and things of that nature, that would give me a bump up in my current position. So about 5 years ago, I decided to enroll in this course. It was supposed to only take 9 months. It actually took me roughly about twice as long, because of course I had to stop and go, and you're paying monthly and things of that nature. So it was very time consuming. I had to take away time from my family and kind of do these studies and take these tests and exams. And when I finished, and again, this is just me, when I finished, it was 2019. I got my paralegal certificate. They mailed it to me and everything. So, I was like, yay me. And I started to kind of look at, the opportunities that were out there at the time. And of course, it's always something different. You're looking at the U.S. Logistics, this and job that and whatever market and all that sort of stuff. And then, they're telling you, for paralegals, the market is going to be 20% up and 25% this and that. And I'm thinking to myself, okay, it's going to be relatively quick. I can use my newfound knowledge. So what ended up happening was, as you can see, I'm not working in an office. I'm not a paralegal of any kind. And, it is an accomplishment. I will say it's an accomplishment that I put my mind to it. But I decided to go for it for myself because I was thinking of the benefit that once I started working and utilizing the knowledge that I had obtained with the months of study and things of that nature, and the time and effort and money that I had invested, that it was going to benefit my family. I mean, hey, if I can make an extra 10, 15, 20,000 a year, on top of what I was already making, I'm like, hey, that sets me up quite nicely. That opens doors of opportunity for me to do something as far as investments and things of that nature. I'm always thinking down the road. So with that being said, needless to say, it didn't occur. It didn't happen. And you may be wondering, well, that's the very reason I don't want to spend all that time and money, and it doesn't come to fruition, and it doesn't happen for me. And I'm sitting there and I'm wondering, why did I go through all this? Why did I lose all this time and effort and money and sleep? There was some sleepless nights, I tell you, and everything like that. And I'll tell you why. In a few moments there. But first, we definitely want to hear from our sponsors at creditrentboost.com. Are you someone that is ready to strike out on their own and get their first apartment? You and your roommates are all ready and set to go to live the good life and pretty much get your life started? Or are you about to leave college and looking for a new place to live in a new city with your new degree? Well, guess what? There's a company called Credit Rent Boost that will allow you to get credit for the rent that you pay and get it reported to the credit bureaus. This will not only allow you to boost your credit, but also set you up long term, so when you are ready to make your first purchase as a homeowner. So give them a try. creditrentboost.com, and you can use promotion code OVM24522. It may be the best decision you ever made. I just love that guy's voice. It's so smooth. It's like hot cocoa on a warm day with a blanket and fuzzy slippers in the shape of animals. Anywho, I mean, who doesn't like fuzzy animal slippers? I mean, I think my mother has cow slippers. She's always on the move. All right. But here's the thing. Yes, I went through all of that. I went through the sleepless nights, the time, effort, money, and things of that nature. And it wasn't that I could not find a position that suited me, even entry level. It was during this time I began to wonder if this is what I wanted to do. Did I want to go from one office environment to another office environment, even for more money? I was discovering my passion. I was discovering, okay, is this what I want to do? For the next 10, 15, 20, 30 years, work behind some desk, slaving 60, 70 hours a week, that I may even have less time to spend with my family because I'm going to be working so many hours for someone. And I had to think about it like, wow, is that what I want to do? And as it turns out, it is not what I wanted to do. I did not want to do that. I felt that I had a greater purpose, a greater calling, a greater need within me. And it just turns out that this is the culmination of that. Now, of course, you'd be like, okay, well, what happened in 3 years? Of course, COVID hit in 2020. And then I went from an office environment to then working from home and I was like, wow. And I began to look around me and began to kind of just look and it's a totally different environment when you're working from home and you're working outside of your home. I mean, needless to say, of course, but the things that you would normally address when you got home, you really don't think about it because you were out 8, 9, 10 hours. When you're working from home, you tend to see things a little bit differently. You're always home, so you're always looking at things around you. You're always looking at your environment like, yeah, I need to go ahead and do something with the garage. I need to clean out the garage. I need to organize these shelves. I need to sweep and mop the living room or the bathroom or the kitchen, if depending if you have hardwood floors or not, or things of that nature. Oh, I gotta, see what I can do about this furniture. Oh, I need to rearrange this. Oh, I need to dust. You start looking at things differently, and you're like, wow. I'm at a point where all of these things I'm noticing around me, and I'm like, I want my environment to be conducive to what I want to do if I'm going to be working from home. So I had to be a little bit selfish for myself. I was like, you know what can I do since I'm working from home? What can I do that works with me working at home that won't take away too much time from, my son or the needs of the house, but also aligns up with my passion. See, this goes back to what we've talked about before. When you find your purpose and you find your passion about something, and then you have to figure out, okay, how can I make this passion? How can I take this passion, this purpose, and I can use it to the best of my ability? And it does take a degree of selfishness. Now, it's not selfishness with any type of malicious intent. But in order for you to be the best you have to focus on you. You have to give you your time. It's often described as me time or things of that nature, and many of us possibly do something like that for ourselves. For me personally, hey, I go to the barbershop and I get my little trim. I get my little trimmed up and my beard trimmed up and everything like that. I feel good about myself. But in addition to having a YouTube channel and a podcast and developing businesses and things of that nature to basically leave a legacy behind, I discovered a passion to want to help people. To help people in any way, shape, form, or fashion, just whether it's a joke or maybe it's a story that has some sort of value that they can take away from it. We all have a story. We all have a testimony, like they have this, like to say in churches and things of that nature. Everyone has a testimony. Maybe your story can help me. Maybe my story can help you. Maybe it's an experience that you had that maybe I did not experience, but by you telling me and me seeing you come through it, you came through the storm. You weathered the storm. And I'm not going to say that you didn't fall or you didn't think about quitting or tossing in the towel, but you're still here. You saw the value in yourself to continue the fight, to continue moving forward, to continue doing whatever it is that you needed to do for you. That's the best kind of selfish that I, in my opinion, that there is. It's not a matter of you're holding anything back from someone or things of that nature. And I mean, sometimes I think that we should. I think sometimes we shouldn't give all of ourselves to someone if they've shown that they can't appreciate us, if they can't value us. I know it's hard. Trust me, I know it's hard. Men, ladies, I know it's hard. Men, you want to be there for your families. You want to be there for, your significant other, your wife, your kids and things of that nature. But if you are not the best you that you can be, if you don't love yourself enough to value yourself and decompress, and you're going to keep giving and giving and giving. And as we've stated before, that we discussed before, you're going to be empty. And then your body language is going to change. Your mannerisms are going to change. Your behavior towards your friends and family is going to change because you are empty and no one is pouring into you. At least not in the same way that you're pouring into them. So that's why I say you have to pour into yourself. You have to the same love that you want to give, the same good feelings and good vibes and positive energy that you want to put out into the world. Guess what? Recycle some of that for yourself. Bring it back on home. Bring it back. Reel it back in. Bring it back in. The further that you cast that line when you're fishing, the longer it's going to take for you to pull that line back to you if you caught something, right? I mean, I'm not a fisherman or anything such as that, but at least that's the theory, the principle. If you cast that line out 35 feet, guess what? When you're reeling that line back, you're going to have to reel it back 35 feet to cast it out again. But if you cast it out and you leave it out there, you're not bringing anything back. You're not recycling anything back within yourself. So it's okay. It is okay to be selfish for you. I know as parents, we like to give everything to our children. We like to give them all and say, hey, I did this for you. I did this. I did this. I did this. And then there comes a point when you get older that you say, you know what? I want to start doing things for myself. I want to start, living for me. All I'm saying is maybe that switch needs to come on a little bit quicker. Don't allow 20, 30, 40 years to go by and your kids are in their 40s and have families and maybe even have grandkids, and you have grandkids and maybe great grandkids at this point, and then all of a sudden now I need time for me. Well, what happened 20, 30, 40 years ago? You still had the same power then that you do now. Just turn the switch on a little bit faster, a little bit quicker, and say, you know what? Instead of me doing something for anyone else this weekend, I'm just going for a drive. If you live near the coast, no matter where you are, go for a drive along the coast. Just drive. Just, you know what I'm saying? Take something, take some edibles. Take some edibles. Take some beverages. Take a drive along the coast. Go to the beach. If you're near the mountains, go to the mountains or get the mountains within view. Get the beach within view. Discover something that you may not have discovered that you may like. Painting, wine tasting, whatever it may be. And you do that for yourself. And you say, hey, you take time for yourself. Hey, where is so-and-so? I don't know. Let's give them a call. Turn off your phone sometimes. We're so connected in this technology these days that we don't turn our phones off. We want to stay connected. Anything can happen. True. But take time for yourself. It's okay to be selfish for you. It's okay to be selfish for you because you are worth it. I think each and every one of you are worth it. You have to start telling yourself now that you are worth it. Don't allow a song or some TikTok challenge or something you see on Instagram or social media, bring some sort of validation to you. Each and every day that God wakes you up, look in the mirror. You know what? Bill, you're worth it. Robert, you're worth it. Jesse, you're worth it. Stephen, you're worth it. Carl, you're worth it. Michael, you're worth it. Janet, you're worth it. Stephanie, you're worth it. Tiffany, you're worth it. You have to tell yourself these things because if we rely on other people to tell us, we'll be sitting there waiting a very long time. And then we're going to be looking for validation and things of that nature. And then that starts the process all over again where we're doing things for other people to be told how great we are, how wonderful we are. And then that means we're going to be, more is going to be required of us. I need for you to do this. I need for you to do that. It is okay to be selfish. It is okay for you to love yourself enough to put yourself first. All right. So with that being said, fam, we're family. Cypher Nation, stand up. Thank you for tuning in. Hopefully you got some value from this episode amongst any others. Continue to share the episode. Continue to tell people about it. Guess what? We are on Apple now. We are on Apple. We are on iPhones, people. Half the world has iPhones and Apples and things of that nature. So tell a friend, tell everyone. Just tell them about the channel, The Real Cypher TV, YouTube. And as always, before you love anyone else, you must first love yourself. And I am out this thing. Cypher.
Allow me to reintroduce myself. My name is I will not lose.
Enter the cypher with your light.